All right, as promised earlier now, let's look at what you can do in a situation when you're being disconnected and what the law says around some of that. How much warning must you get as a resident or even a business if there are, issues about your account, you're not paying, or you have been able to pay, or you've made arrangements. So let's look at that and also look at what, these threats to disconnect some non-paying individuals, but also non-paying municipalities. As we spoke to Rand Water yesterday, what does this tell us about the state of governance in our municipalities as well? And we speak to Dr. Harlan Cloete, University of the Free State's Public Administration and Management Department. He is with the department there. Thank you so much for your time. What are some of the things, for example, if a resident is faced with officials who are coming to their household who says that you haven't been paying your bill, we are now going to be switching you off, and you did not receive any letter, for example, of disconnection or demand, what do residents do in that particular case?
Good evening, and good evening also to your viewers. Municipalities, if you look at the definition of a municipality, it's the relationship between politicians, administrators, and the community. And so normally a municipality will have a policy, and that policy would be known to residents about what measures to take when it gets to matters of such. Mm-hmm. So a official cannot just rock up at your household and threaten to cut it off if there was not a process and a procedure followed. And so residents, the municipality has a responsibility to communicate. That is good governance, to communicate to the end user of services the steps that they have put in place to make sure that they keep on collecting revenue and that they keep the lights on, or that they keep the city functional.
Yeah. And Dr. Cloete, yesterday we were in conversation with Rand Water, and they were talking about the fact that they're being owed money by several municipalities, and it's been over a long period now, and they simply aren't getting the money, and they're going to continue, cutting off the portions of supply when it comes to water provision to some of these municipalities. What questions does this then raise about the state of governance in some of these municipalities?
Now, study after study have shown that we've got a governance crisis in municipalities. The AG reported last year that besides skills and capacity, we've got a crisis of governance in municipality. Look, if you do not pay your accounts, and the first month, the second month, and nobody collects the money as well, then it becomes a pattern. And so I'm not saying that it is right for municipalities not to pay their accounts, but also the onus is on those who's delivering the services to make sure that they do collect the money. Mm. So it's a two-way street. Rand Water or whoever's providing a service, if there's no consequence, and study after study has also shown in this country that there's a lack of consequence management, is that there is no consequence. So if you do not pay an account for 9 months, then that money that's supposed to pay that accounts goes and services other priorities, for example, in a municipality. And so it's a relationship of you having to collect money and you making sure that you also pay the account.
And that particular relationship as well also existing between municipalities and some of their residents as well, and other residents not paying for their services, and also inconveniencing some who are paying for their services, because this disruption of water is not going to impact certain households. It certainly will have an impact on everyone.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. If I'm Rand Water or I'm a municipality, there's supposed to be monthly reporting. There's supposed to be checks and balances. Those are the basic principles of governance. Are we stable? Are we liquid? Do we have enough cash? Et cetera, to make sure that our operations keep on keeping on. And so residents are punished simply because I think that we've got, like we said, there's a governance problem, there's a management problem. There's a leadership crisis in our institutions that have been confirmed study after study. The big thing in our country is implementation is a problem, and then consequence management.
Dr. Cloete, one then, really just always asks this question. And as you say, we've heard various reports from the AG. We've heard from different, political parties also lambasting what is happening in some of the municipalities. We've heard even from Salga itself talking about how this dysfunction in some of these very municipalities. And when you speak to some of the officials in these municipalities, they tell you that, no, we're probably in a remote province and some people don't even want to come and work in our municipalities. So is it a lack of skills here? Or is it simply because some of the people that are in these positions simply do not know where to even begin, let alone just, the issue of skills?
I've just completed a research study where we visited various provinces and various municipalities. When I got to one municipality, this official, we were prevented to getting there, and he sends me a message. He says, you know what? I'm so disappointed that you could not come to our municipality. He says he has presented our research study and case to over and over again. And he concludes, this is his words, laziness and politics is preventing us from moving forward. And so it's a combination of certain things. Sometimes you have people in positions in municipalities that simply do not have the heart. We have this wonderful concept called Batopile, which we do not live, that says how we are supposed to govern public administration in this country. So it's a combination sometimes of people in positions. I was at one municipality where this colleague shares with me. She says that she was presented with an official who never is at work because he is connected politically. He doesn't pitch. He comes once a month, steps in, say hello, and then he's gone again. And so we also have political interference. Those are the realities that this person sits with on the ground, that she says, if you want to discipline sometimes staff, you will simply get a call from a politician to say, leave this thing, man. Let this thing slide. Let it go away. And so it's a combination of factors. It's sometimes it's skills, but mostly it is political will, or there's administrative lack of will in terms of making sure that we do what must be done. I think being a public servant is the highest calling. You're working for the greater good of society. What better job could there be to work for the betterment of society? But unfortunately, in some instances, and there are good public servants out there, they are hampered by either politics or laziness, just lack of will and not wanting to be there.
And it's quite sad to hear that we're still here. And, when we get yet another presentation of the AG's report, one wonders what then are we faced with again, especially if we are now hearing of such disturbing stories, because municipalities are in the cold face of service delivery. And this is where people are looking for some of these services. But let's see then, Dr. Cloete, if at all there could be changes in the future, and we see what happens in that regard. But do appreciate your time and also just sharing some of these stories from some of these municipalities you've visited with us. That is Dr. Harlan Cloete. He is with the University of the Free State's Public Administration and Management Department.